Hi, I'm Adam Bagnall, the retail manager for Harvey's Brewery. I've worked here for over 25 years, and on the day of the flood, I was here in the brewery shop as the waters came in and caused much devastation. The brewery shop flooded very quickly from just a few inches right up to knee height, and then the water continued to rush down the passage. So myself and my colleagues here fled upstairs and awaited rescue, which did mean that on that day I left work on a lifeboat, which is quite an unusual experience to say the least. It drove through the yard, passed through the floating casks, through the back gate, and eventually we disembarked on higher ground, which was kind of by the Dorset pub. We're stood in the brewery shop now. There's this incredible flagstone floor in here. At the time of the flood, it was a beautiful parquet floor, and the water obviously soaked into that and made it swell so much that as you came in, it was a bit like the South Downs, and you had to jump up and down on the floor to trash it. It was just such a sad thing, really. There was a great feeling of disbelief, I suppose. So as I said, Environment Agency guys were all around, people monitoring the river. But at the same time, you just didn't quite imagine that it would happen as it happened, and it happened as fast as it happened. So from the time we left the shop to the time we reached the brewery, it was at knee height, nearly at sort of thigh height. So you realise you couldn't get out of the brewery in any direction other than going upstairs. So we all dashed upstairs, and yeah, as you look back, there was just a scene of mass devastation sort of thing. We just had 8 pallets of Christmas puddings delivered that day, and they were instantly destroyed, like within hours of delivery. Really, really grim. So in the aftermath of the flood, everyone had lots and lots of jobs to do, and our primary focus was getting a small shop that was functional set up in the brewery yard, just to give the customers the beer that they wanted. And one of those beers, of course, was the Ouse booze, which had been in the fermenting vessel for much longer than intended. We had no way of bottling that beer at all, so we had to ask our friendly neighbours, Shepherd Neame, to come along and suck it all up with a big tanker, take it back to Shepherd Neame, and they bottled it in a 330ml bottle, obviously with the distinctive Ouse booze label. I was in the little temporary shop at this point, just setting up, and this huge Arctic comes back with all of the Ouse booze bottles, and delivering pallets and pallets and pallets of Ouse booze. And I just couldn't believe how much there was, and I thought it was going to be years and years and years of stock. But we opened the shop door, the temporary shop, and the first customer that came through the door brought 2 cases just like that, and the customer behind him the same. And you soon realised that this Ouse booze wasn't going to hang around, and it was going to sell in just a few weeks. And there was quite a feeling of sort of exhilaration and excitement, which is really, really tricky to think about now. But yeah, it was a very, very sort of special day, really, a very unusual day.